What's up, hockey fans and hockey fanatics out there? It is Monday, June 28th, 2021, 7 p.m. We are going live in the Hockey Lounge. It is episode 11. We have two guests on the show tonight. If you want to become a lounge member, hit that subscribe button below or follow us on Instagram, The Hockey Lounge. Tonight, we have Brandon Burlon, pro hockey player, and Paul Tips Santi. I like to bring Paul on because we like abusing referees in the Hockey Lounge. So, boys, welcome to the lounge tonight.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So, we're rocking at 7 p.m. I think this is the earliest we've opened the lounge. And because the Stanley Cup Finals start tonight, Montreal Canadiens. Am I saying that right? Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Unbelievable. I think I was chirping the North all season. I actually tweeted to Jeff O'Neill in one of the overdrives. I said, the North Division is like the A division at the Sports Village in Vaughan. Now they are representing the North Division in the Stanley Cup. So we're going to dissect into the Stanley Cup Finals, Tampa, Montreal. We're going to talk about the conference finals, the Final Four, what happened there. We're going to get these guys' thoughts on predictions, who's going to win the Stanley Cup for 2021. And we're going to dive into some betting odds with Paul. I know that he's probably got some money on the line tonight. Maybe Brandon does as well. I'm not sure. We'll see the reactions when they predict for game one today. So, boys, I'm going to bring it to Brandon first. What were your thoughts here on the conference finals? Vegas, Montreal, the Islanders, and Tampa.
Well, I think it goes without saying that the Montreal-Vegas series was a shock to everyone. But when you look at it and you break it down, it really isn't. Because, and I'll bring this stat up throughout the whole show, Montreal hasn't given up a penalty kill goal in 14 games. Granted, Carey Price, one of the best goalies in the league, in the world, it helps. But at some point, you get unlucky if he lets one in here and there, but he hasn't, and that goes to show just how good the guys in front of him are. So, like I said, not a shocker. Vegas couldn't capitalize on the power plays. It was an emotional series. There were a lot of penalties called. Reffing, a whole other story, which I'm sure we'll touch on as well. Yeah. But I think that was the difference maker in that series. And then you go to Tampa, New York, another example. The Islanders were able to keep Tampa's power play neutralized. And when they did, they were able to squeak wins out. When they didn't, they were getting blown out. The 8-0 game was what it was. But it's an example of, stay off the power or off the penalty kill against Tampa, and you'll be all right.
You're 100% right there, buddy. 5-on-5, they're not like lights out dominant, man. You're like 100% right on that one.
At this point in the season, it's tough to be lights out dominant. Sorry.
Yeah. Good point.
For sure.
For sure.
So again, looking at that Montreal Vegas series, you mentioned special teams, you mentioned the PK, and it's unbelievable how the playoffs work because you look at Montreal's PK versus Vegas's PP, the power play, which their big boys struggled during the series. Stone, Marchessault, Pacioretty, they got no production from any of those forwards up front. Majority of their scoring came from the back end. Martinez, Pietrangelo, even McNabb scored one game. So the ability for Montreal to shut down the Knights, Paul, on the power play, and to roll those four lines consistently. I know you're just waiting to talk. So what are your thoughts? I can just remove him off the podcast right now. What do you say?
No. I want to hear what he has to say.
Go ahead.
So we've been having this conversation now.
Yeah.
For 3 series with the Montreal Canadiens.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
We've been having internally. So for everybody that doesn't know, Brandon Burlon's my brother-in-law, so I see him very frequently. Brandon and I have had conversations about this. You and I have conversations about this. It is so evident because of the way Carey Price plays and reads the play that the tic-tac-toe, cross-ice, low percentage plays where you get it on the weak side, guy can one-time it. Price does such an incredible job at reading those that he can stop those better than any goaltender. Like, there was a play in overtime, if you guys remember this, okay, in overtime, when it went back past the Pacioretty. You think Carey Price is going to be sliding over. He was like completely square to the shooter because he had already moved over before the guy even passed the puck.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I think all the teams are missing, especially these higher skill teams. Forget like the highlight reel play. There's a reason why Vegas's defenders scored goals. You want to know why? Because they got the puck to the top, they got it to the net, and the guy can't stop what he can't see. The guy can stop everything he sees, man. He can stop everything he sees. So it's going to be very interesting if everybody tries to continue to railroad their brand of hockey and their brand of offense against the Montreal Canadiens when you've got to take what they give you. That's the key, man. And I'm surprised now 3 straight teams have just been like stubborn about it on the offensive end. You've got to get pucks to the top, get it through the net, and hope for deflections and like get the stick in the garbage can, get the dirty goals, man.
Well, Nick hit the nail on the head too when he said Montreal rolls 4 lines. And if you want to rewind back to the Toronto series, Paul, you and I had this conversation. You can't play Matthews, Marner, Nylander, those guys, 26 minutes a night for 7 games and expect them to perform games 5, game 6, and game 7.
Yeah, you got to change up the look, man.
You have to get your whether or not he's going to put pucks in net for you is one thing, but
100%.
your Wayne Simmons, your Spezza knows how to shut guys down. Joe Thornton, he's been around. He can neutralize opponents. Maybe not with his speed, but with his smarts and his stick. But Montreal, they rolled 4 lines. Everyone contributes on that team, and that's why. That's not the only reason, but I think it's a big part of their success.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think that looking at both series here, you had Montreal and Vegas, where like Paul pointed out that you're playing against a team with Montreal that collapses down low. There's a lot of white ice at the blue line, so they can get the pucks to the point. And Paul's been harping on this, in our texts and our chats about greasy goals and all that whatnot. What I found with Montreal too is that we talked about this last week on our show, is they freed up that neutral zone. They had a guy cheating. One guy was blowing the zone. The Vegas D, where their gap control between each other, especially in the blue, between the red line and the blue line of their blue line, was wide. They had a lot of on-man rushes, a lot of breakaways, if you've seen that. And they've done this now twice when they beat Winnipeg, and now they've done it to Vegas. The interesting part about this is you talk about goaltending and Vegas. We're going to get into the Islander-Tampa series, but Vegas and Montreal consistently, of course, they went with Carey Price. The back and forth of Leonard and Fleury, your thoughts, Brandon, on the Boers, back and forth was as a pro hockey player. What are your thoughts with, if you're a defenseman, of course, having that switch of goalies? What does that do for the psyche of the team?
Well, at the beginning of the game, my brother texted me when they put Leonard in,
and
he goes, "Why are they putting Leonard in?" I said, "Well, why not? Fleury's played every game, save for that debacle against Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
He's tired. You get him a breather. Hopefully, he steals one. Okay." Leonard, where did he play? He played in Buffalo for a long time. He was a starting goalie there. It's not like he can't handle himself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, back to the team psyche.
Yeah.
As a defenseman, like you said,
yeah.
If you have a goalie behind you who, puck came off the boards weird when he clipped it off his skate and Montreal scored. As a defenseman, if you know your goalie is a bit shaky, you're not doing your part. Not your part. You're not doing your job solely as a defenseman so that the forwards can do theirs, so the goalie can do theirs, right? It's when you start trying to compensate for others that you're taking yourself out of position. Another guy has to cover for you. and it just creates just like a total breakdown, especially in the defensive zone, right? So you have a guy that comes in like Lehner, wants not prove himself, but you know you're going to get a good game out of him, okay, given the stakes. You can play freely. Your forwards can play freely. Your D can step up where they need to. Be aggressive in the D zone instead of collapsing and trying to block all the shots so they don't get to your goalie.
It's interesting because I think the same thing that you're just talking about actually happened to the three opponents against Montreal all the way through the playoffs on the offensive side. So everybody shit their pants that they weren't scoring goals, okay? So they overcommitted, they pressed, they put themselves in very vulnerable positions, and then these guys just came down the ice and counterattacked. Like, Montreal is in the finals. They're 5-1 or something like that in overtime, okay? Two of the games, I think one game against the Leafs, they got outshot 13-2, and in the series clincher against Vegas, they didn't even get over the red line until they scored the goal. Right. So, like there's these trends, and these trends are, it seems like, the super high-skilled teams, okay? Because they don't take what they get, start squeezing their sticks tightly because they're used to all these tic-tac-toe plays, and then they completely expose themselves trying to press. And it's been like 4-on-2, 3-on-2, 2-on-1, and Montreal scores on the counter. Like, what if you go back and watch some of the critical points in these series and some of the goals that they've scored, or if it's a block, like they got a lot of puck luck, right? Like the overtime goal, the clinching goal, off Price's shoulder, rebound goes out to the blue line, shoot that puck 4,000 times again. It doesn't go outside the hash marks, okay? Yeah. But it is what it is, right? Or blocking a shot and getting a breakaway. Yeah, they're getting a little bit of luck.
But to your point, that goal, it was a clear-cut 3-on-2.
The series clincher was a 4-on-2, buddy.
Oh, sorry, 4-on-2. You're right.
4-on-2. Jesus, it was like shinny, man. It was like 2 minutes under.
You can't deny it.
But this is the thing too. If you look at the Vegas D, they were so activated that.
That's right.
I believe two guys were down low. I think it was Pietrangelo Martinez, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, guys, if I'm wrong there, but they were down low. The counterattack happened, 4-on-2, and then you have Pizza Dano with a no-look pass. If he tries to make that pass 20 times over again, he ain't hitting that, right? So, so we'll just throw up a comment because this is a good one. So we got Tipu here again. He's one of our big fans of the lounge. Just heard the FBI open an investigation into how Montreal made the finals. It's criminal. So thanks, T, for the comment. But that being said, you have the Canadiens. They remind me a lot of the New York Islanders, the way they played. And the interesting point, gents, to this tonight is, for me, is that Tampa Bay just beat a team that plays a similar style as the Canadiens. In your face, grind, collapse, but they don't have the goalie like Carey Price here.
Buddy, you hit it on the head, eh?
So, this is the Hockey Lounge. We're not doing Sesame Street here, okay? So, anyways, so in terms of Tampa and the Islanders to go to Game 7, but let's just finish with Montreal and Vegas here. They took the Knights, or the Knights took them to 6 games, guys. Before that series, Brandon, your thoughts? Did you think that it was going to go 6 games for Montreal here? Like, who did you pick for that series?
I was off a winner on that one. Yeah. Just given Montreal's track record, I wasn't touching an eventual winner there.
Yeah,
but it's hard to deny what they've done, and I think part of what is blowing people's minds about they beat Vegas is that, well, whatever it was last year, the year before, Cup Finals, they've been strong, and people have in the back of their heads that it's the same team as it was, that their inaugural season where they went to the Cup Finals. How can they be any different? They got Pietrangelo, they've shored up, and how can they be any worse? They should be killing teams, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that's not the case, and I think Montreal deserves a lot more credit. You sent me that comment that Ryan Whitney made.
Yeah.
And he said, if Montreal goes to the finals with the Islanders, I'm done. I'm not watching hockey.
Yeah.
Well, how can you say that?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Yeah.
It'd be the same as someone saying, well, if Brandon Burlon goes on, not that he would ever have me on the show, but if Brandon Burlon ever goes on Spittin' Chicklets, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
Give credit where credit's due, right? And Montreal has done it the right way. It's very simple to see. And it's going to be fun to watch them against Tampa.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know what? Going into I didn't want to see the Islanders and Montreal. I didn't want to see that, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see this series because you have, two of the best goalies going head to head. You have a team that's on a roll that believes themselves in the Montreal Canadiens, and then you have Tampa Bay that just won a Game 7, shutting them out. The Islanders at home 1-0, and Vasilevsky again, stopping everything. So right. Tampa Bay and the Islanders, Paul, okay, to go to Game 7 and only win 1-0 against the Islanders. Your thoughts on the Islanders? I know, listen, like you call yourself the hockey purist. I think we're going to make some T-shirts like that too for the lounge. But a hockey purist, your thoughts on that series, Tampa and New York, going 7?
Listen, I really enjoyed the hockey, right? I really enjoyed hockey. It was super structured, super disciplined, which is difficult to achieve in of itself when you have like individuals that are playing the game, obviously. But it was one shitty goal. Okay, think about it, man. It's one shitty goal that Varlamov, 100%. So it is one shitty goal when he should have made a stop. He did not make. It's unfortunate. He played well the series. The team played well. And they easily were there. They poured it on, man. And they're super tough to play against. They do exactly what Montreal does, which is, this is who we are. We're not going to apologize for it. Take it or leave it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full from 1 to 20. Okay. Mm-hmm. And let's get after it. And the confidence builds. And Trotz did a lot of good things in Game 7 when they needed a goal. He put Barzal out there with Matty Martin and Casey Cizikas, I think, on a couple shifts to change things up. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with like double shifting your Clydesdales, but at least it gives Tampa a different look. You know what I mean? Than the same 3 guys that he played with. So he really doubled down. Again, I felt because Tampa's the only team that can match Carey Price save for save, because those 2 goalies are the 2 best in the world. So I think Montreal's disadvantage because they have clearly had the goaltending advantage in every single series.
Yeah.
End of story, full stop.
Yeah.
It is going to be very interesting. And I felt at times that Matty Barzal should have put pucks on net when he didn't, and he was getting too cute. And they need to do the same thing. Okay, Montreal needs to do the same thing, which they don't get very many scoring opportunities to begin with. But I don't think they're gonna they get the nicest goals, but they're primarily on the counterattack. But nevertheless, they need to do and they need to do what teams should be doing to them. And it's going to be very interesting to see if like the high skilled guys will just take what's given to them and shoot the puck. I think that's key, man.
So Montreal having the rookies really step up. Cole Caulfield, Kakanyemi, Suzuki, a different look for the Montreal Canadiens, some youth. But if you look at the teams they've beaten, and I'm giving Montreal credit because I really like the way they've adapted to this playoff and played their hard hockey, roll 4 lines, because to win the cup, you need four lines to win. Your special teams, I was talking about this prior to the playoffs here. To win the cup, your special teams have to be top 5 in the playoffs. Bottom line, that's just the way it goes. If you look at the last cup winners, that's how good they were in special teams. If you look at Vegas, Brandon, if you look at Winnipeg, if you look at Toronto, you look at Winnipeg, you look at Vegas, they really didn't have a number 1 center. Like that, let's be honest with you. And Vegas per se, the rumor is right now is that they are looking to get a big man down the middle. So against Tampa in this series, they got some centers here, right?
Now they do. So your thoughts here on the Tampa Islander series, where again, one thing you pointed out, and Paul was saying about greasy goals or whatnot, and you pointed out, that's just playoff hockey or whatnot, and I like the one where you said you cracked the code. That was a good one. But your thoughts here on the Tampa Bay Islander series. What did you see, and what's going to be, I guess, the game changer for Tampa, because they're coming off a series similar to a team that they're going to be playing now for the Cup? I didn't get to watch a lot of that series just because of logistics.
Yeah, for sure.
All that.
Yep.
But when I did, I think the Islanders' defense were the kicker for them because they got contributions out of them, and I think they played well beyond, I don't want to say their capabilities, but I think their D-core as a whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yep.
Like when you look across the ice and they're in the NHL for a reason.
Yeah.
Mayfield, Dobson, who else is over there? Pelech.
Yeah.
Pulak. Who's the fifth one? Can't remember. And you got Andy Green.
Andy Green, your buddy.
Inside the ice. Ryan McDonough, Victor Hedman,
Sergachev.
Shen, Sergachev. It's like, I don't want to call it David and Goliath, but you can't help but think that those Islanders D are going to be a little intimidating. Not that you're playing D against D, but it's like, well, I got to shore up if I'm playing the playoff series against these guys. And I think part of the reason for the success is Andy Green, because you take those 5 young guys and you insert another random young guy, and maybe that's different. Because Andy Green, I looked it up yesterday. The Tampa D-core has 3,400 NHL games played. The Islanders D had 2,700, and Andy Green accounts for 1,000 of those games.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can see it in his beard, right?
In his yes. Yeah, I had the pleasure of being around him when I was in New Jersey, and he really is that, like, not so much of a calming influence, but I modeled my game after him because he's not a huge guy. Mm-hmm. And I would ask him, like, Yager was there when I was there, and he's enormous. Like Paul said, he's a Clydesdale, right? To put it bluntly.
Yeah. Yager is
how do you handle these big dudes?
Yeah.
He goes, just wait. They got to turn around eventually. And Yager was famous for backing you up, and using his reach and stuff. I think, and the thing is, all of those Islander D are all like 6'5" monsters. So if you can have that Andy Green positional mentality at whatever he is, late 30s, early 40s, but with the size advantage, I really think that was a key to their success, no doubt.
For sure, and some of those Islander players that you just mentioned, the D especially, they're no-namers, and now they're namers out there. So people know of them.
Any of them have more than, like, if you do the math, 1,700 games. 1,700 between 5 guys. Yeah. Do the math. That's a little over 350 each, which is 350 more than I played, but it's still not a lot compared to your McDonoughs, your Hedmans, Shen, Sergachev. Sergachev's played more than all those guys almost combined. Like, it's tough, and I think that was a key for them.
For sure. But
that's a really interesting point, because nobody at the start of the playoffs even knew who those guys were.
No, 100%.
And I guarantee you,
yeah,
using Toronto as an example, not to make it Toronto-centric, every single Leaf fan would take those top 6 and take those 6 defensemen on New York and take those 4 defensemen on Montreal and ship everybody out of town here.
Oh.
Especially the New York Islanders, though, man. Like who wouldn't want that D-core?
There's one thing you're missing, though, with that. You got to bring the head coach along with them.
Yeah, no. All right. Of course, I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to change my opinion on the coach either. But I'm just saying that's a very interesting point because
of course,
they're no-namers.
Yes. Who knew Mayfield? I didn't know that guy until
he was
beating on Crosby.
I played against Pulak, Mayfield, Pelech when I was in the American League.
Yeah.
And same thing. There was like no one paid them any special attention when we played them. Pulak can hammer it.
Yeah.
But that was probably the extent. It was like, guys, he's going to be on the top. He's going to try and pound it through your shins. Either don't let him get it or get in the way. One of the two. But that was the extent of it. It wasn't like he was putting up 60, 70 points as a D-man. He was not like a Shea Theodore when in your pregame meeting it was like, guys, they got 2 of the top scorers in the league. Oh, and by the way, Shea Theodore is like a forward that skates backwards.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like
Rover.
Right?
Rover.
And you talk to any Paul, we were watching the game, his brother and I, and Paul couldn't even pronounce Pulak's last name.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Such a
Paul.
beauty, though.
No, but like that guy is there's a Pellick too, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pellick. He's
Yeah, I
a
think, like,
Toronto guy.
I think I was calling again when they were playing Pittsburgh. I was calling Pelch. Who's this Pelch guy, right?
Exactly.
Like who knew these guys? But those are very good points in terms of, again, the solid core, big boys back there. Noah Dobson looks like he's going to be a stud too. So they got some D there. And again, some of those guys are going to be cashing in the banks in if they're UFAs or RFAs or whatever they are in the next season or so.
But Nick, it always doesn't have to be the sexiest name on the block, buddy.
100%.
That's the point.
No,
Okay.
Listen, that's why we
Right.
brought you on our men's hockey team, buddy.
Yeah.
We brought you on the back end. You weren't the sexiest guy out there that we could have got for the Midnight Express, but we said, let's bring Santi to Montreal
There
and
you
have a
go.
good time. There
That's
you
right.
go. Right? So, so the tail of the tape, the Stanley Cup Finals, we have Tampa Bay and Montreal. So let me just run some stats for you guys. So Tampa Bay is 12-6, 58 goals for, 37 against. Their power play percentage is running at a 37.7%. Their PK is at 83%. Their leading goal scorer, of course, is the Kucherov. He's got 5 goals, 22 assists at 27 points. On the other side of the table here with Montreal, their record is 12-5, goals for 43, goals against 37. Their power play percentage is at 20.9%. And again, Brandon, their PK, 93.5%. And their leading goal scorer is Tyler Toffoli with 5 goals, 9 assists with 14 points. The interesting thing about when I looked at the top goal scorers in the playoffs, there is nobody from Montreal here. There are guys still that are out on the golf course that are still in that top 10. So this is really pushing the envelope, I think, with Montreal with looking at some of these numbers. So your thoughts, Brandon, on this series and what's ahead? What are we looking forward to tonight in Game 1 in Tampa?
Well, you made mention of the goals for and against for Tampa. Was it 58-37?
Let me just bring that up again. 1 second. It was 58 for, 37 against. Yeah.
Okay. They had that blowout, 8-0.
Yeah.
You can scale it back. You might want to take 5 or 6 off. Okay.
Right.
Now you're in the low 50s, but Montreal has gotten to the same point in the season, scoring 10 less goals and giving up the same amount, right? Those power play and PK numbers, I remember when I was playing, we would get over like a 7-game segment. If we hit some certain numbers, we get like an extra day off or whatever the case was. And when your PK and your PP added up to 110,
yeah,
that was like a magic number. So the numbers for Montreal, 93 and what?
20, man.
Okay, so you're above 100. You're above 110.
Yeah,
113.
93.5, 20.9. Yeah.
That PK number, though, for Tampa is concerning, eh?
And what was it?
83%?
80.
It was 83%.
And their power play?
It's rolling at a
30+.
37.
Yeah.
37. Okay, but you have a team that's rolling at 93%.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
if that PP gets neutralized, that 87 or 83%.
The 83%.
PK, like Paul said, is concerning.
It
Right.
sure it is.
Like for a team of that stature at this point in the season, okay, giving up 13% of their they get scored on 13% of their PKs.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. And I know Montreal isn't like a power play juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination, but at this point in the season, all it takes is one.
All you got to do is throw pucks at the net, man, this point of the season. And the story full
one or
stop.
two, in a game, and all of a sudden you're down 1-0. You're behind the 8 ball. If your power play can't click and your PP can't generate.
My opinion has changed a little bit about this series in the last 30 seconds.
Oh, here we go. So let me give you I'm going to throw
concerning.
some numbers here because you know what? There's a lot of different stats here that I got and did some homework here. So over the last 2 years, Carey Price's save percentage, this is the last 2 years, has been in the playoffs a 0.935. Over the last 2 years for Vasilevsky, a 0.933. We're talking about, two of the best goaltenders in the world going head to head here. And right now, Price is a little bit ahead in terms of his save percentage for the playoffs the last 2 years. So let's talk about their numbers in terms of Price and Vasilevsky. Price is 12-5. He has a goals against at 2.02. His save percentage is .934 with 1 shutout. You have Vasilevsky at 12-6. And again, if you guys notice, these have been the goaltenders throughout. Okay, they haven't put in anybody else. They've played their games. Vasilevsky's at 1.99 goals against average at a save percentage at 936 with a spectacular, which check this guy's out, 4 shutouts. 4 shutouts in these Stanley Cup playoffs. It's tough to get a shutout at all, ever, in the regular season or playoffs, and you're talking about a goalie that just has 4 shutouts. So let's break down these 2 goalies. Who are you taking?
I don't do goalies. I don't do goalies, Paul.
Okay, so hold up. But I want to ask you, Brandon, again, you've played. You know the ins and outs. You've been around some guys. You talked about Jagger. You talked about Green. You talked about other guys that you've played with in the past year. Okay? Going to give you a scenario. You're the head coach you could be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning or Montreal Canadiens with either Carey Price or Vasilevsky. Remember, so you're jumping on NHL 21. You're picking a team. Picking a team, okay? Which goalie and which team are you taking?
Hold on. Are we just talking about the goaltender? Or are we talking about the win the cup?
We're talking the goalie.
No, talking about the goalie. I'm the coach now.
Yeah.
I'm coaching the Montreal Canadiens in the video game because I think it speaks more to Carey Price, the Montreal defensemen, the Montreal forwards, the Montreal Canadiens as a team to have gotten where they've gotten with pretty much the exact same goalie as the Tampa Bay Lightning. Right? And you look at Montreal's D as well, not like household names the way Tampa Bay is, Vegas, for that matter, right? You got Shea Weber, Ben Sherratt's coming to his own this playoff. Mm-hmm. John Merrill, he's been in the last couple of games, I think.
He's your teammate in Michigan, John Merrill, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Edmondson, I really didn't know, I'll be honest, didn't know who he was until the playoffs started.
Yeah.
And then from there, I can't name the other 2. That's really bad. But that kind of speaks to the same way the Islanders D were, right? Doing their job, not doing anything flashy, letting Price do his thing, right? So that way the team can focus on their jobs. And that's that. So like I said, if I'm a coach, I'm going with Carey Price.
Paul?
Well, let me ask you, who would you go with, Nikki Ty? Nobody asked you the questions, man. You get to sit here and ask the questions. You go. Who would you pick?
I'm going with Carey Price.
Yeah, I think I would too. I'm not just saying that to be
unanimous. No. I think I'm going with Carey Price.
And you know why though?
I think he's a gamer.
Buddy, why? He's so intimidating, man. Like,
right?
Oh yeah,
wins game 7. He's like, wins game 6. Yeah, it was nice to see my kids are up in the stands. Like, thank you. Yeah. See you in Tampa.
He's got a calm demeanor about himself for sure.
But it's intimidating, man.
Yeah.
But it also permeates the dressing room too. Like if he was, I don't want to say jumping around, and I play with goalies that are complete head cases.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And, superstition, routine, call it what you want. Goalies are notorious for being a little more left of center than most guys on average. Okay. I don't think he's I don't know him, but like Paul said, his demeanor is confidence instilling. He doesn't get fired up, doesn't yell as a defenseman, and like I said, that will permeate a team. I know a guy that played with Robin Leonard in Binghamton, and he said he was the most intimidating guy for another reason. He's like 6'5", 200 and some odd pounds,
He's a
and a lunatic.
Yeah.
He said he was the scariest guy. Like, you came in and you're shooting it 2 feet off the ice max in practice. Because if it got up near his shoulders, or God forbid his helmet, look out, because you're standing in line. He would like not worry about the shooters coming down, grab a puck from his net and fire it head high to you guys standing in line in the corner. So
there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, he's another guy that just looks very intimidating, Robert Leonard, with the tats, and he's a monster of a guy. You have goalies that are big in terms of they're tall, but he's just a Hulk all the way around. Big, wide. He's a truck.
Yep.
So, Paul, Canadian teams' most recent Stanley Cup final appearances. You have the Canucks back in 2011. They played the Bruins. You have the Senators that played the Anaheim Ducks in 2007. The Oilers played Carolina in 2006, and then you had the magical Calgary Flames playing the same Tampa Bay Lightning with Vinny Lecavalier and Dave Andrechuk and those boys. There's Brad Richards. And then, of course, 1967, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They just had to add that in there just for a little gut wrenching. But
there you go.
So it's been a long time since we've seen a Canadian team per se. So your thoughts now with the Montreal Canadiens? Are they representing Canada? Because I've been going back and forth all day with texts, emails. People are saying this is Canada versus USA. My opinion, you want my opinion because you said I always ask the questions. I think that's a load of crap. This is not World Cup, Euro, whatever you want to call it. This is the National Hockey League. You have your favorite club that you cheer for. It's not country against country. Unless, Paul, you think that if you have that mindset, fire away. What do you think? Is it US against Canada?
No, I think it's like a complete waste of time to ask the question.
Oh, there you go. I love it. Bang.
Tell us what you really think.
It's bullshit, man. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. People got nothing else to talk about, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Nick,
I guess that. But that's how they're going to get my mom to watch the game. My mom's going to watch the game tonight. Okay. My mom's going to watch the game. 100% she's going to watch the game.
It doesn't fit your eye. Canada versus USA. He said, "Is this now Canada's team?"
No, man, that's bullshit. Phrase the question however you want. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. There's no Canada's team. It's a club league. There's no like.
So only Montreal fans are rooting for Montreal.
No, you can root for whomever you want. I'm saying the narrative. There's a reason why they have that narrative out there, so that people in Saskatchewan watch the game. Okay, so that the casual fan in Alberta watches the game. That's why the narrative's out there, and that's why guys on TSN 1050 have to talk about it because they need to make sure that they get ratings for their show. And they're forced to ask those questions, even though deep down they probably know that the question is a complete bullshit question. It is. Sorry, it's like complete idiot. Like it's complete idiocy. Okay.
Well, the thing is, again, a lot of people are, like you said, a lot of the media out here in Toronto and everywhere are talking about how the drought of Canadian hockey teams winning the Stanley Cup since 1993. The last team to win it was the Montreal Canadiens. Now you're talking about, it's U.S. versus Canada. It's been a long drought for Canadian.
But that narrative is bullshit.
I get it. Hold on a second.
There's 6 teams.
Hold on. I get it.
There's 6 teams against 24 in the States.
Right.
Probability dictates that an American team's going to win.
Right.
Take your finite mathematics course and figure it out, Porco Khan. Jesus Christ.
And when you put all 4 Canadian teams in one division like it was this year, only one better shot.
Yeah.
They don't even have a good shot to make it to the semis. Never mind the finals or win. Under normal circumstances.
You have a chance to get to the final 400%. The bye's right there. The interesting stat, though, this is where I get fired up. Is that they're out of the final 4 teams that were just playing in the conference finals, the Montreal Canadiens have the least Canadian players on their roster. So I don't care it's about the logo. If you're talking about a Canadian team, then you got to have the most Canadian players. So that's where I ended with that conversation because really, you know what? Like I said, it's the National Hockey League. It's Tampa Bay versus Montreal. It's not U.S. and Canada. But Like you guys have just said, this is a great selling point for mom and dads, whoever want to watch the game tonight.
Casual fans.
Casual fans. Okay, so we're at 7:40. We're 20 minutes away from game time here with Tampa Bay and Montreal. There's going to be 18,000 Rockin' fans there. Question for you both. Brandon, you've played big stadiums, University of Michigan. Loved it there. I went there a couple years ago with my older guy. Fabulous venue. I got chills there with the band and everything. Really cool. Like just to walk around that stadium with all the guys postered up. I'm telling you, compared to an OHL game, you can't beat that. That was wild. But so you've played in front of crowds. Now this series has Tampa Bay standing room only, right? Montreal is like playing at Elgin Barrow with the Richmond Hill Stars. I played against Sweden in Elgin Barrow, so the barn was packed. But that's how Montreal is probably going to be. Is that going to be a big game changer in this series?
I don't actually. I retract that. Tampa, the Islanders, Vegas, Colorado for that matter. They've been playing in front of full crowds, right? The Canadian teams haven't been. And Tampa's been doing that the whole time, right? Montreal's been going from, a fractional capacity to Vegas full, back and forth. I think maybe Tampa, having played in front of full houses the entire playoffs and coming to an atmosphere like Montreal with it's not capacity crowd, maybe it takes away from the luster of it. Maybe it isn't like, let's take the crowd out of it. Whereas Montreal, right, now playing in front of, but they've been playing against in Vegas, against capacity crowds. It's nothing new for them. It might be a bit of a shock to Tampa, but I think, and I used to live in Tampa Bay, and I've been to a playoff game there when they were playing the Rangers. It literally is electric in there. Yeah. It's really fun spot. So I think they'll make the most of playing at home. Obviously, they might find it a little difficult to play on the road. I played in Albany, New York. Okay, we play the odd Tuesday night game. Yeah, and if I wasn't playing with the other scratches, we would literally count how many people were in the stands, and it wasn't hard because it was like 200, 250 in a place that holds 14,000.
Did you guys bet over under on that or what?
Pardon?
Did you guys bet over under?
No, I wasn't wagering at that point in my career. It would have been really bad.
It's almost as many fans as the Devils get sometimes too, as well, right? The actual New Jersey Devils.
It was a bit of a tough sell. But it was what it was. But on the flip side, I've played in places like Hershey, Pennsylvania, where it is, no matter what night of the week it is, there are 10,000 fans there. It doesn't matter, and that's like a religion in Hershey.
They're
an original 6 American League team,
right?
So they get the fans. They're always good, but win or lose, they're there. 10,000 a night, and it's loud, and they're always good. Guys want to play there, and it really is like a home team advantage.
But that's got to pump you up, though, right? That gets your legs going. Even when let's say you're on a minute shift and the crowd's rocking or whatnot, it still gives you some adrenaline. So I think, I think the crowd might have. Again, you made a great point there with Montreal going into Vegas and playing in front of they're a crazy crowd too in Vegas. So it won't be nothing new for the Canadians. Paul, you want to talk about some betting odds tonight? What are we looking at tonight for tips? If because I'm sure the Santi brothers will have some wagers on this game tonight, as well as
if you listen to my tips, if you listen to my tips, you'd be down a lot of money because I've been fading Montreal nonstop, and it's funny because the lines opened up, and I was like, oh, Vegas has figured it out, right? So if you bet in that Vegas series, Montreal, like every game they were plus 225, and on the road they were plus 275. So think about the money you could have made if you just bet them all the way through, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you could win one game and lose the next two and still be up money. The under is like a super aggressive bet with Montreal. It would like hit, like if you played the under on every Montreal game and you took Montreal at the start of the playoffs all the way through at these ridiculous plus 300 plus 275s.
Yeah.
Like my brother-in-law, who every single day would message me saying, so this guy over here, you know what he messaged me after Vegas lost? You taking Vegas in Game 7? Okay.
Love it.
What are the Game 7 Vegas odds? And then he said, you could have booked yourself a European vacation if you just took Montreal at plus 300 every night.
Or plus 1.5 every night.
Yeah. So hear me out. Interesting, because Vegas opened up the series lines and the game lines for the first time for Montreal at under plus 200. Okay. It opened under plus 200, which has never happened all playoffs.
On the road.
They're bet up
They're home.
They're bet up plus 230. So what does it tell you? Everybody's taking the Paul Santi thing, saying this thing is a Cinderella, it's a sham. They got to come back to the middle. I'm not buying it, man. I've lost enough money. I'm done. I'm not going to be stubborn anymore, man. I'm not going to bet the series.
Okay.
But I am not going to discredit Montreal from potentially winning some games because teams have done this in the past. The Ducks with J.S. Shiger, the Sabres with Dami Hasek, they have taken their goaltender has taken them all the way, even to game 6 or 7. There is one outstanding bet, though, that we found that we feel is an absolute moneymaker. Okay.
Is this the lock of the night?
This is, there's no locks, right?
Okay.
Just like people give out stock tips willy-nilly, buyer beware, but there are no locks. But there is one line that is like, it's got us horned up here at Tip Santis. And it is the first team in game 1 to 4 goals, neither minus 140. I think there's a lot of value on that number. I don't think anybody scores 4 goals in this game tonight. Barring.
Remember, this is on YouTube, and we'll be able to view this tomorrow morning. Okay, or right after.
Okay. So, Nick, how many goals do you think they're going to score tonight, buddy? How many goals do you think a team's going to score 4 goals tonight with Vasilevsky and Price in that?
Tampa's.
You can't answer the question. So because you can't answer the question and you don't want to say I'm right on YouTube because it's going to be on here forever. Okay.
When Tampa's price is plus 170.
Okay. And then when Tampa scores 9 tonight, you're going to come on and say, Santi, that guy told you to take minus 140, first team to 4, neither.
I want you to page that guy tonight. Send the page.
Okay. So no team is scoring 4 goals in my opinion.
Brandon, what were you saying?
Can I just say one thing though before you go to Brandon?
Yeah.
Unless the referees completely butcher it, man, which is not out of the realm of possibility.
First off, I asked you to wear your referee's jersey tonight. Like this has to happen. You have to come on the show with that on. And the next time, because I want you fellas on again before a pregame too, because we're having fun tonight in the lounge. This is a really good one, and I want you to come on with your referee jersey, with the logo of the team that's going to get the best calls for that game. Okay, can you do that? Right? Because obviously, all right, man, these refs have been wearing logos this playoff series. Okay,
it's embarrassing, right? Man.
It's embarrassing. So, before we dive into a couple more things here, I'm just going to go down and have some fun with you guys with this. So, let's talk about forwards, defense, and goalie on both teams here. So, who are you going to give the nod to? Tampa Bay's forwards or Montreal's forwards? Brandon.
See, I'd be contradicting myself if I went with the name brand guys.
Yep.
Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, all the Tampa guys.
Yeah.
Because this Caulfield kid, seemingly come out of nowhere, is a legitimate threat. He can skate, he can shoot, he's not afraid. Suzuki's done a great job up the middle against everyone from Toronto, everyone from Winnipeg, everyone from Vegas. I don't want to say the Tampa guys, but it's tough. It's going to be a low-scoring game. It might be a 2-1 game, and some garbage gets whacked in. Like I love Josh Anderson. The guy's like a Wayne Simmons in his prime.
Right.
A little beefier, albeit, but you know what? Montreal. Let's do it.
Okay, Montreal. All right.
Let's do it.
All right, so you're playing Montreal. So just a couple live updates here. Elliot Friedman just tweeted out that Armia is in the warm-up. He is taking warm-ups. He was on the COVID protocol list a couple days ago. Himself and Luke Richardson took a private plane to Tampa today. So he's taking warm-ups. It looks like he will be in the lineup. Paul, who are you taking here, Montreal or Tampa in the forwards here?
Kucherov playing? Kucherov playing.
Yeah. He actually said after they won the other night, they asked him about his injury. He said, what injury? So
okay.
He's playing it down. But yeah.
Worst thing is understand English.
I think I have to go.
The two hot Russian models beside him were translating for him. So, yeah. Paul.
I think I have to go with. I think I'm going to go with Tampa because Braden Point is just a beauty to watch. Like Braden Point is just. He's what it's all about.
He's a beauty for sure. He's like Steve Campagna in his prime. Bells, if you're watching.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, can I just ask Berlin a quick, like a 30, like don't take a lot of time. I don't want to inject, but this is like a really interesting question. Caulfield, Suzuki, Kotkaniemi.
Yep.
Do you think that this is going to have? Do you think this is going to maybe like accelerate their development, going this deep into the playoffs, and really helping them out here for the future? Like you played, right? You're also part of Jersey's Cup run. You were a Black Ace. You were there for the entire Stanley Cup. Do you think young guys, this prime time, like it's like no pressure, right?
No,
They're not even supposed to be there. Do you think this is going to help these guys long term compared to the team in the 4-1-6 that's never made it out of the first round of the playoffs after 5 years with all those guys that started just like these three dudes, man? So I'd be interested to get your take on that.
Like you said, there's no pressure. It's a free lesson. Win or lose, they're going to grow from it. Win, it's like, wow, we did this, and this. These were the right things to beat a team or to have success against a team like Tampa. And if we lose, it's the same thing. It's a learning experience. You're going to gain a whole lot of knowledge from it. We didn't do this, and this. We're going to improve on those to be able to compete with the team and with the forwards from a team like Tampa. So, yeah, and I think the fact there's not a lot of pressure on those young guys makes them dangerous. Okay? Not that they're going to be reckless and not play their positions and be like, hey, you know what? We're here.
But they're not going to be squeezing the stick. The stick.
No, and you play free. That's the best way to play. You know?
Yeah.
I know, Nick, Paul, when you're out playing shinny, don't you feel like you're a way better hockey player? I do.
Maybe right? For me, it was maybe
what I have to do, what the coach is going to say. Is like you're doing your thing. Yeah. You'll try stuff. You're playing loose. You're playing the right way. It's fun. Yeah, I think fun's the biggest part of it.
I think, and I think it's also with Caulfield. It's he's got that that star arrogance about him. He knows he's good. Every level he's played in, he's dominant. He played 2 games in the HL. He scored 3 goals. I actually heard some quotes that I guess a couple of guys that watched him in the A played against him said he's past this league. He just has to go up. Like, so they were saying like he just had to skip that league. That's enough. Move up. Suzuki, really interesting because if you look at that and getting back to that other series, Pacioretty was traded and Suzuki, they switched teams, right? And now, you saw the evidence here, even though I still like Pacioretty, but Suzuki has a
very similar to what the Boston Bruins did with trading Joey Thornton back in the day, buddy, and then winning a cup with some of the guys that they got in that haul with those picks afterwards. Right. Lesson learned, man. It's not always about the shiny new toy, buddy, or the biggest name on the block. For sure. So defense, Paul, who you taking, Montreal or Tampa? Oh, God, buddy, Victor Hedman's he's my favorite. He's an absolute, he's a stud, man. So
doesn't he remind you of Steve Rebellato on the point?
Oh, totally, man. Yeah, just not as composed.
Okay, all right, perfect.
But
Brandon, I'm just drilling some of the guys that I played men's league with, and I've known for like 40 years, right? I just take jabs at them.
Yes.
It's good. They can watch it over and over again. So,
I think it's another one of those. Do you go with the sexier brand name car, or do you go with the durability? You go with the durability factor, right? Like, do you take the stars, or do you go with the sum of the parts? You know what I mean? And those top 4 guys, it's like documented now. Everybody's talking about those top 4 guys in Montreal. Yeah. It's like just yes sir, 3 bags full, do my job, tough to play against. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna say Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Skewed heavily towards Victor Hedman, and Carey Price does win the Conn Smythe. But anyways, next question: win or lose?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to bring up one of our guests here watching, viewing. He says Carey deserves a cup. It will help him join the elite names of Waugh and Brodeur. Great point there. Another one here. Shinny and company said for sure. I guess he's commenting on the Tipu comment. So guys, thanks for watching. Ladies, thanks for watching. Appreciate the comments. So Brandon, defense. You're the guy there.
I like, and I went with Montreal's forwards. I'm going to go with Tampa's D because of the grab bag that they are. They are a loot bag. In Montreal, you have your Edmondsons, your Webers, your Sherratts. I forget who the other guy is. Like they made Petrie. There's a stat. They're all over 6'3". They're all over 220. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like Paul said, yes sir, 3 bags full. They do their job. Whereas with Tampa, you got Victor Hedman who can skate the puck up the ice. He can play D. Sergachev has an offensive threat. McDonough's a mule. Shen holds down the back end. There's a little bit more diversity to their decor, and for that, I think they have more of an impact on the series than maybe Montreal's do.
A little more dynamic, eh?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
All right, so before we get into our Stanley Cup champion, we talked about goalies here. So I think I said Price. Paul, you said
Price.
So Montreal across the board. The price is right on that one. So the final question of the night, boys, because again, we're a few minutes from the national anthem. I'm really excited about this game tonight. I'm excited about this series. I think it's going to be a good one. Stanley Cup predictions. I'm going to give Brandon his pick here because he's new in the lounge tonight. So how many games and who's winning?
Don't be surprised if it goes 7. Because Montreal's proved that they can win a 7-game series, a 4-game series. They can go the length. They roll those 4 lines. Tampa does the same thing. The goalies are in it. It'll be low scoring. And there's my tip for the game or for the series.
Yeah.
You can take the under every game and probably come out on top. I think, though, Tampa Bay's experience, especially Stanley Cup experience, shines through. And we're looking at like the same way the Islanders series ended, a 1-0 or 1-goal game in a game 6 or game 7.
Okay, so you're picking the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Sure, but Montreal also on half every game.
Okay. so Tampa Bay in 6 or 7.
Yeah, for sure.
In 7 or 6? What are you picking?
7.
7. All right. Paul.
Boy. Yeah, I think the under is a good bet, and it's only a 5, not 5.5. And
it's 5.5 tonight. Is it?
No, 5.
Okay, 5. Okay.
But it's minus 120 on the over. So I don't understand. Like, are people like just haven't bet these playoffs, or what's the deal? Like, how can it be over minus 120 at 5? Because it's just not minus. Like 4 goals, just lucky. But anyways,
people are betting on the hoops, buddy. Clippers and Suns tonight.
Nuts, man. I think Tampa, but I think there's a couple keys. You got to neutralize the peeper for Tampa. If Montreal wants to have success, Okay, if Montreal wants to have success, no, they've never played a team that moves the puck on the power play like these guys. There's nobody in the NHL that moves the puck like these guys, and that's the key to any successful power play: incredibly quick puck movement. Number two, be very interested to see if Tampa Bay simplifies it and gets what they're given instead of looking for tic-tac-toe highlight reel goals. No other team has done that against Montreal. That's the way you got to win, and I think they're going to win. I hope they're going to win. As much as I like Carey Price, Carey Price wins the Conn Smythe no matter what happens. I think that's my opinion. That should be the final result. And yeah, we'll go from there. But if Montreal wins, it would be great. It would be great for the city of Montreal.
So you're saying Tampa and how many?
5.
Whoa, strong statement from the tipster.
Yeah.
5 games, Tampa Bay.
That's lost a lot of money though, the tipster. Nobody calls me the tipster except you on YouTube, Nick. So, like, nobody's calling me up and say, "Hey, tipster." Remember on Fan 590?
Yeah,
from the tipster.
The tips for the tipster. Pro line. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, listen, if you're watching this later on tonight, if you're watching it tomorrow, just go the opposite of the tipster. Maybe you win a few dollars.
That's right, man.
So I have, and again, Montreal Canadiens, family members that are Canadian fans. I have friends. They watch the lounge. They say, Nick, you hate the Canadians. You hate the Canadians. I'm sorry. Listen, I think Tampa Bay in 6. That's my prediction. I did have in the beginning of these playoffs, I had Tampa Bay and Vegas going head-to-head for the Stanley Cup. I picked Vegas to win the Cup, so I'm out of that running. I just think the Tampa Bay Lightning, this team is on the road to be a destiny or a dynasty team. I think they have every piece of the puzzle right now, from the top end to the bottom end forwards. Whoever knew of Chernacki on the back end for Tampa Bay, and he's a beast, number 81. He'll eat you for dinner, that guy. So there's a lot of guys that have showed their true colors in these playoffs. So we have Brandon with Tampa Bay in 7. We have Paul with a hard prediction with Tampa at 5. And then we have myself with Tampa at 6. Just going to go around the horn one more time here. Any last comments here, Brandon? Thanks again for coming on tonight.
No, it was my pleasure. And thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it. I usually get to banter about hockey with Paul. My wife won't hear it. It's only Paw Patrol here. I enjoy watching the show. I can at least catch up the next day with Paul after he's been on the last couple of times. So again, thank you. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Paul, any last statement?
I think Killorn and Braden Point are just beauties to watch. So pay attention if you haven't watched any of the Tampa Bay games so far. In Montreal, what you see is what you get. And it will be fun to watch Carey Price in a Stanley Cup final, because he just seems like a legit good guy, and you just want him to do well. So I look forward to it, man.
One last point before I let you guys go, too, is I saw this today as well. This is Corey Perry's back-to-back Stanley Cup appearance against the Tampa Bay Lightning, back-to-back.
Yes.
It was with Dallas. So,
yeah, that was...
he's played really well in the playoffs. I hope he does well, and it's exciting to see these young players play for Montreal. I finally, they're actually not a team now that sort of bores you. They got some youth, speed, some finesse, which I like to watch. So we had just one last comment from Guy from Toronto. I think this was a good one here. I view this similar to the Super Bowl. Will the champs repeat? KC Chiefs couldn't, or will the legend clutch it? Carey Price and Tom Brady, considering Tom Brady won, I got Montreal winning. So again, Guy from Toronto, thank you for the comment. Again, if you want to become a lounge member, hit that subscribe button below, or follow us on Instagram, The Hockey Lounge. Thank you to all the viewers tonight. Thank you to all the viewers watching our previous episodes. This was episode 11 on Monday, June 28, 2021. We started at 7 o'clock, an early one tonight. The game is about to start in a couple minutes. Enjoy the playoff hockey. Paul, Brandon, thank you for coming on the lounge tonight. It's been a pleasure. Have a great night. Enjoy the Stanley Cup Finals, and have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. You too.